The August sun beat down on our backyard as 20 squealing 10-year-olds splashed in the pool. Our twins, Emma and Ethan, were celebrating their birthday and everything was perfect until my mother-in-law, Sandra, decided to make her grand announcement. I've been suspicious for months. The way she dodged our questions about the college fund she promised to set up, the mysterious investment meetings she claimed to attend, the subtle hints about her financial expertise. But I hadn't expected her to choose today, of all days, to make her move. Everyone, gather round, Sandra called out, standing by the pool in her designer swimsuit and full makeup. I have a special birthday surprise for my precious grandchildren. My husband, Tim, looked up from where he was grilling burgers and gave me a worried glance. He knew that tone in his mother's voice, the one that usually preceded some grand gesture that was more about her than anyone else. The parents of our twins' friends gathered closer, many already impressed by the elaborate pool party Sandra had insisted on helping us organize, help that mostly involved her telling everyone how much everything cost. As you all know, Sandra continued, champagne glass in hand, education is everything in the Wilson family. That's why I'm thrilled to announce that I secured Emma and Ethan's future. I felt my stomach clench as I reached for my phone. $100,000, she declared proudly, invested in a special high-yield account that will grow until they're ready for college. The other parents murmured appreciatively. Sandra basked in their approval, while Emma and Ethan looked confused. At 10, college funds weren't exactly their priority. That's so generous, Susan Parker, one of the other moms, gushed. How did you manage such a large investment? Sandra smiled mysteriously. Oh, I have my ways. Years of financial experience, you know. The important thing is that my grandchildren's future is secure. Show us, I said quietly but firmly enough to carry across the pool area. Sandra's smile flickered slightly. What was that, dear? The account, I said, standing up from my pool chair. Show us the investment account. The splashing in the pool had quieted. Even the kids seemed to sense the tension building. Jennifer, darling, Sandra laughed nervously. This is hardly the time. Actually, it's the perfect time, I interrupted, opening my phone's banking app. Because I have something interesting to show everyone. Tim had moved away from the grill and come to stand beside me. He knew what was coming. We discovered the truth just yesterday but decided to wait until after the party to confront his mother. Clearly, Sandra had other plans. 3 months ago, I continued, you asked Tim and me to sign some papers. Authorization for you to manage the kids' college fund, you said. But you never showed us the actual account documents. They're being processed, Sandra said quickly. These things take time. So I did some digging, I went on. Called every major investment firm in the city. None of them had any accounts under Emma and Ethan's names. Or yours, for that matter. The pool area had gone completely silent now, except for the gentle lapping of water. But I did find something interesting. I pulled up a series of bank statements on my phone. The $100,000 you claimed to invest, it came from selling your condo. The condo you told everyone you were keeping as a secure investment for the kids. Sandra's perfectly maintained tan couldn't hide her growing pallor. That's private family business. It became everyone's business when you decided to make this public announcement, Tim said quietly. Where's the money, Mom? I turned my phone screen toward the gathered parents. Would anyone like to see where it actually went? Because I have some very interesting credit card statements here. Jennifer, please. Sandra's voice had lost its confident edge. Think of the children. I am thinking of the children, I replied. I'm thinking about how you sold their supposed college fund condo and spent it all on a 6-month luxury cruise around the world. The gasps from the other parents were audible. Emma and Ethan had climbed out of the pool, dripping and confused as they watched their grandmother's perfect facade begin to crack. It wasn't like that, Sandra protested. I needed a break that cost exactly $100,000. Tim asked. The same amount you claimed to invest for our kids' future. I scrolled through the credit card statements. First-class airfare to Venice. Presidential suite on the Crystal Symphony. Shore excursions in every port. Private tours, spa treatments, luxury shopping. You don't understand, Sandra's voice was rising with panic. I was going to pay it back. With what money? Tim demanded. The money from the condo is gone. The money you claimed to invest never existed. What else have you lied about, Mom? The party had devolved into chaos. Parents were whispering, kids were staring, and Sandra stood there, her champagne glass trembling in her manicured hand. Everyone inside, pizza's here. Tim's sister Amanda called out, trying to salvage what was left of the children's party. As the kids scrambled out of the pool, leaving a trail of wet footprints across the patio, the adults remained frozen in place. Perhaps we should discuss this privately, Sandra said, attempting to regain her composure. Like when we tried to discuss it last month? I countered. Or the month before? Or every time we asked about the investment paperwork? Amanda joined us, holding her phone. I've got something to add to this conversation, she said grimly. I just checked my kids' accounts, the ones you said you'd set up for their college funds too. Sandra's face went even paler. Amanda, sweetie. Let me guess. I interrupted. Another 100,000? Did you make grand announcements at their parties too? Amanda nodded. Except she told us it came from selling her beach house. The one she claimed would be split between all the grandkids one day. Tim ran his hands through his hair in frustration. How many properties have you sold? Mom, how many fake college funds have you promised? Sandra sank into a nearby pool chair, her perfect poise finally cracking. You don't understand the pressure I've been under since your father died. Maintaining our social status, keeping up appearances. By lying to your grandchildren. Amanda's voice cracked. By selling everything Dad left us and blowing it on cruises. I pulled up another screen on my phone. The Crystal Symphony wasn't her only trip. There were 3 other luxury cruises in the past year. Different cruise lines, different routes, all booked under slightly different versions of her name. To avoid detection, Tim realized. That's why you use Sandra Wilson for one, Sandra W. Wilson for another. The total comes to just over $400,000, I said quietly. All the properties Dad left for the grandchildren's future, the condo, the beach house, the mountain cabin, all sold and spent on luxury cruises and shopping sprees. The remaining parents had gathered their children and were making discreet exits, leaving behind half-eaten birthday cake and unopened presents. Our carefully planned party had become a family nightmare. I was lonely, Sandra burst out. After your father died, watching all my friends travel the world with their husbands. I just wanted to feel happy again. At the expense of your grandchildren's future. Tim's voice was cold. Using our kids as props in your social performance, making grand announcements about money you'd already spent. Amanda checked her phone again. The beach house sold for $2 million. Mom, where's the rest of the money? Sandra's silence was damning. Show us your credit card statements, I said. All of them. I can't, she whispered. Because they're maxed out? Amanda asked. Is that why you've been pushing us to add you to our children's bank accounts? For investment purposes? The truth hit me like a wave of cold pool water. You're broke, aren't you? All those properties sold, all that money gone, and now you're looking for new sources of cash. Sandra buried her face in her hands, her expensive diamond rings catching the sunlight. I just needed to feel alive again, to feel like someone who mattered. You mattered to us, Tim said quietly. To your grandchildren. But you chose luxury cruises over their future. I'll make it right, Sandra pleaded. I have a plan. No more plans, Amanda cut her off. No more lies. We're calling a family meeting tomorrow. All the siblings, all the documentation. We need to know exactly what's left and what you've taken. Inside, we could hear the kids laughing over pizza, blissfully unaware that their college funds had been spent on Mediterranean cruises and designer shopping sprees. Emma and Ethan's 10th birthday would always be remembered as the day their grandmother's web of lies unraveled by the pool. What do we tell the children? Sandra asked weakly. The truth, I replied. Something you should have tried a long time ago. As Sandra gathered her things to leave, her designer beach bag heavy with the weight of exposed lies, I thought about all the elaborate stories she'd told, all the grand announcements she'd made. Each one had been a performance, a way to maintain her image as the generous, wealthy grandmother. But performances eventually end, and when the curtain falls, all that's left is the truth. 3 months after the pool party revelations, we sat in our living room for another family meeting. The twins were at school, blissfully unaware of the adult drama unfolding in their absence. The stack of papers on our coffee table told the full story of Sandra's deception, and it was worse than we'd imagined. $5 million. Amanda read from the forensic accountant's report. That's the total amount from all the property sales, investments, and accounts Dad left for the grandchildren. And it's all gone, Tim added quietly. every penny spent on cruises, shopping sprees, and maintaining appearances. Sandra sat in a corner, a shadow of her former self. Gone were the designer clothes and flawless makeup. She'd been staying with her sister since the truth came out. Her own home was now in foreclosure. The good news, I said, pulling out a folder, is that we managed to freeze what's left of her latest cruise booking. That's $40,000 that can go back to the grandchildren. 40,000 out of 5 million, Amanda said bitterly. Not exactly the college fund we were promised. Sandra stirred in her chair. I've applied for reverse mortgages, looked into investment opportunities. No, Tim cut her off firmly. No more schemes. No more financial plans. You've lost that right. I opened my laptop and pulled up a spreadsheet I created. We've worked out a plan. Tim and I have started new college funds for Emma and Ethan. Small deposits every month. Legitimate investments this time. We're doing the same for our kids, Amanda added. It won't be the lavish fund you promised them, Mom, but at least it's real. Sandra began to cry softly. I never meant to hurt them. After your father died, keeping up with our social circle seemed so important. The cruises, the shopping, the lifestyle. It became an addiction. An addiction that cost your grandchildren their future, Tim said. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the lies. Making grand announcements at their parties, giving them false hope, using them as props in your social performance. I thought about Emma and Ethan's faces when they finally understood what had happened. Not anger, but confusion. Why did Grandma lie? They'd asked. We hadn't had a good answer. The therapist says it's a form of narcissistic behavior, Amanda said, referring to the family counseling we'd all been attending. The need to be seen as the generous, wealthy matriarch was more important than actual generosity. Sandra wiped her eyes with a tissue. I want to make it right. Please, there must be something. There is, I said, pulling out one final document. You can sign this. What is it? A confession, Tim explained. A detailed account of every property you sold, every false promise you made, every dollar you spent. We're not pressing charges, but we want this on record. And, Amanda added, you'll agree to financial oversight. No more access to any family accounts. No more grand announcements. No more lies about money. Sandra's hands trembled as she took the pen. What will people say? What about our reputation? That's still all you care about, isn't it? Tim asked savely. The reputation. The appearances. As Sandra signed the document, I thought about the lesson we've learned, one we'd make sure to teach our children. Real wealth isn't about grand announcements and social status. It's about honest work, genuine saving, and true family support. 6 months later, we held another pool party. Smaller, simpler, but honest. The new college funds were modest but growing steadily. The kids splashed and played, unburdened by false promises and social performances. Sandra was there, different now. Quieter. Humbled. Working with her therapist to understand the damage her lies had caused. She didn't make any announcements or promises. Instead, she helped serve cake and watched her grandchildren play, perhaps finally learning that their love was worth more than any social status. Sometimes the greatest gifts we can give our children aren't financial at all. But the simple truth that family means more than appearances and honest struggle is better than fraudulent success. As I watched Emma and Ethan laugh in the pool, I knew they'd be okay. Their college funds might not be the fortune their grandmother once promised, but they had something more valuable, the truth and parents who would always choose honesty over grand illusions.